Hey guys, what's going on? Today we're going to be talking about something that's been bothering me for quite a while, and the more research I've been doing into it and the more I've been diving into it, it's actually getting worse and worse, and I'm finding it to be more and more appalling, and that's the bad business practices of Bungie as a company in regards to Destiny 2. Now, this is not going to be a critique on either Destiny 1 or Destiny 2. This isn't a review video of any kind. This is simply talking on the premise of business practices and what they are doing within their company, as well as what they are doing to their player base to basically pay-pig the hell out of them and shill every single dollar for the most minimum amount of content and production costs in return. This video is going to be going over a multitude of different things that they've been doing over the course of time and pretty much bundling it all together in one big package to really kind of explain why I personally believe that Bungie on its own is far worse than anything we've ever seen from EA or even Activision Blizzard leading up to this point in regards to how they're practicing and maintaining their game with Destiny 2. But let's go on ahead and let's dive right into this because we got a lot of ground to cover. So the first thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about the rapid expiration of their codes for Destiny 1, the collection. Okay, so what this was is that this was basically a game package of all of the DLC and content that ever came out for the original Destiny game, bundled into one nice convenient $60 package that anybody could pick up and buy and have everything dealing with Destiny 1 right then and there at their fingertips. Not a bad deal. Honestly, nothing like that is ever going to be constituted as bad in my eyes when you bundle everything together to give it to the players, because now they're able to experience the game as a whole, get a complete and total package. If they care about the story, they can learn about the story, they get all of the content, all of the raids, all of the dungeons, everything right there available to them, while also giving a sale to the company. Great win-win situation, no problems there. However, what I find weird is that the collection came out on August 15th of 2016, yet the PSN codes have had a massive epidemic of all expiring within 1 year's time, which I found a little odd. I personally have PSN codes that I have bought back from like 5 years ago for like PlayStation Live and then also some other things, and they still work. They don't have an expiration. While the back of the card may say that it expires at a certain time, they usually will take a very long time before they're reused. The point of these expiration dates is because there's only so many combinations that you could possibly have, and so eventually when they expire, the code may still work if you get lucky and fortunate. However, they reuse the codes, kind of like social security numbers. They also get reused after a certain point because there's only so many social security numbers you could possibly have, and that's exactly what ends up happening with a lot of these codes when it comes to like Xbox Live, PSN, or whatever else. But here's the thing, a game developer has to pay to keep those codes active for a long period of time, and basically they pay for them up front in the amount of time that they pretty much like believe that their longevity of their game is going to last. And my problem with this is that is absolutely ridiculous to me and absolutely horrid to me that they only wanted to pay for 1 year. Knowing the longevity of Destiny and how many people have sat there and played it and kept playing it over the course of time, they chose to only pay for 1 year. With the amount of money that Destiny 1 has already made the company and the amount of money they continue to bring in, only paying for 1 year of codes is inexcusable for a company that large. To give it a quick example here, obviously for the people that want to argue, well, they need to reuse the codes, everything else like that, like it's not a big deal or whatever else. No, it kind of is. So if you don't know, there is 35 possible combinations because there is 26 letters in the alphabet, and there is 10 potential digits ranging from 0 to 9. But we have to take one out because you never have codes that have the letter O and 0 as a thing. Usually they just default to using 0 instead of using the letter O. So we take one out, which leaves us with 35 potential characters to choose from. Now on PSN there is 16-digit code that you have to put in in to get it to work. Meaning that because it also allows for repetition, so that means like in one code, you could potentially have 2, 3, 4 R's in one code when you're putting it up. That allows a network to have 4.9 trillion potential combinations. 4.9 trillion potential combinations. Okay, that's just for PSN. For those of you that don't know, on Xbox there's 25 potential combinations, which means that you could have up to 30 trillion combinations, which is why a lot of the time Xbox codes never expire, because there's so many potential options that the chance of them ever needing to reuse a code again are much lower, because obviously once the code gets used, it gets updated in their system and they know that that code is available again because it's already been redeemed and used for somebody else for something else. To give an example of this, somebody a year ago literally bought Burger King's The Sneak King. This is a game that came out in 2006, and the 48-hour trial card in there for Xbox Live still worked. That is an insane amount of longevity for a single code. And the thing is that a developer is allowed to pay to extend out the amount of time of codes, then how long they last for. They literally paid for 1 year. So any codes that you get after that 1 year period, so basically as soon as it hits 2017, they could already be expired. It's a big issue on PSN and a much bigger issue there because of obviously the fact of the shorter pool of codes, but even still, we're talking trillions of potential codes, and they didn't even want to care to actually pay to extend it out. The other interesting thing that I find about this whole collection thing is that it hasn't gone on sale in a very long time. It's a game that came out in 2016, and they have yet to even lower the price on it on PSN or Xbox One. And the other thing about it is that they don't even sell it on their store. I legitimately tried to go to Bungie's store from their actual website to buy the collection. And what I find hilarious is that whenever you click to buy the collection in the top right hand corner, it's a dead link. It doesn't do anything. And then when you go to try to click it from the website and you hit buy the collection of Destiny 1, it just takes you over to Destiny 2 to force you over to that. This isn't an accident. This is intentional. The goal is to get people off of Destiny 1 and onto their new systems with Destiny 2. That is an intentional design choice, and one I've never seen any other developer do. You can go and buy any old game from the vast majority of all these other developers. I mean, hell, if you go to like Blizzard store or anything else like that, you can buy games that came out back in 2004 and below. They offer everything for you to be able to purchase it. You go to like any of the Call of Duty stores, you could buy any of the Call of Duties from those stores. But here's an even more interesting tidbit, right? Right now, if I want to buy, let's say like Advanced Warfare, right? A game that came out like long ago. Activision is still publishing copies of this game, physical copies that I can buy right now, even though the game came out years ago, but yet I can't buy a physical copy of Destiny 1, and I also cannot buy it through Destiny's site directly. And if I buy it from somebody else as like a third-party person or whatever else, I'm risking the potential fact of the code being expired. It's maddening to me. This does not make any sense. Why would you not take the additional free money that you could be earning and gaining revenue off of your old product, which is a finished, complete product, mind you, and doesn't have any of the other issues that we're going to be talking about with it, and not allow people to purchase it outside of the fact of it just being available on PSN's actual store or Xbox Live store? I'll tell you right now, it's because they're saving money on the codes and squeezing every single shekel out that they possibly can. And when you go to the actual Destiny site to try, when you go to the actual Bungie site to try and buy it, they instead try to push you towards Destiny 2. And here's why. Destiny 2 is intentionally built to not allow newcomers in without a steep cost, a very massive cost, if you want to experience all the possible content that isn't currently vaulted in the game. Now, let me give you guys an example of this so that way you understand exactly where I'm coming from. You got a buddy who wants you to play with him. He is paid for everything that Destiny 2 has released. He has sat there and completely gone balls to the wall. He does not want to miss anything, and he wants you to also join in and experience the fun with him. So you go to the Destiny 2 site, and the first thing you see is, oh, cool, Destiny 2 is free to play. That seems pretty cool. Okay, yeah. So you get into it, you kind of play with him, you have some fun, and then you hit the paywall. And it's telling you, like, okay, well, we've given you your free little sample. Now you need to fork out some money to be able to actually play the game. All right, not a problem. Totally understandable. Every company should make money if they're providing a good product. So you go and you find out that this is what you need to fork out to be able to continue. In order to have access to all of Destiny 2's content and future content, this includes the Witch Queen that's coming out here soon, you as a new player must buy the following. Destiny 2 Legacy Collection, which is for $60 without any kind of a sale. Okay, not bad. But wait, you're gated because you're still not allowed to do a 6-player activity and content unless you also bought the season pass in Beyond Light. So what you have to do is you now have to go back and you have to buy the deluxe edition of Beyond Light to be able to have access to the 6-player content. Okay, so that now adds in an additional cost of $25 for you to be able to purchase that. If you get lucky and Steam does properly discount it, or if you're on a different platform, obviously it does the proper discount because of the fact that you already have the Legacy Edition. If it does not do the proper discount, then you're potentially looking out at shilling out even more money for it. But we're going to go on the basis that it does do the appropriate discount and you're not going to end up having to pay more money for it. Now, today is February 13th. However, Witch Queen comes out in the next 9 days. So now you also need to buy Witch Queen. Okay, sure, not a big deal. But wait, you can't just buy the Witch Queen edition for $40. No. You actually have to buy the Witch Queen edition for $100 because it also includes the 30th anniversary, because the 30th anniversary has a dungeon lock behind it that you cannot get access to unless you purchase the 30th anniversary, and it's cheaper to purchase it all together than obviously purchasing it separate. So now we're adding in another $100 on top of your purchasing amount to be able to once again get all of the content so you can play with your buddy who already has all this stuff or has also shelled out the additional money for it. But wait, there's potentially more. We're still not done here. Bungie recently announced that they will no longer be putting dungeons as either part of the season pass or as part of the expansion that you buy, not meaning that all dungeons won't be put there, but there will be dungeons that won't be put within that, and it's still unclear if buying the 30th anniversary pack and the Witch Queen Deluxe Edition is actually going to get you access to all of the dungeons that are going to be coming out over the course of time through the Witch Queen. So now you have a potential unknown additional cost that you might have to fork out later on to continue having all of the content as a whole. But we're going to ignore that for now because I don't have set numbers and I don't want to be unfair. For a brand new player to come into Destiny 2 and have all of the content right now, you are going to be paying a grand total of $185 to get everything right now. You're gonna look at your buddy and be like, yeah, no, you can go fuck yourself. Because I promise you, he's not going to fork out that much money for one single game, while also being told that there is a chance that they might also have to pay additional money towards it. But the thing is that most people don't do this kind of research. They don't look into the total cost of what it's going to cost them to get into it. Most people just want to buy a game, and if it's like the Super Big Dick Deluxe Edition or whatever else, they expect that to have everything that they will ever need over the course of that that game, because that's why you have these editions. Look at the way Activision handles Call of Duty. When it first comes out, you pay $100 roughly to sit there and get the game and everything that the game is ever going to come out with outside of cosmetics. You have the microtransactions for cosmetics, emotes, and random gun skins, and that's it. Afterwards, you know that once you pay that $100, you are good for the next year of Call of Duty, and you don't have to pay an additional dime. That's totally reasonable. That's perfectly fine to an extent. I personally feel it's overpriced, but that's just my personal opinion. That's still an okay system and still consumer friendly enough, because the other thing is too is that somebody can go back and always buy the season pass later on to get all the additional content, to get everything else that they are missing out on. Destiny 2 is not set up to welcome in new players without a massive paywall to hinder them from being able to fully enjoy the game and all the content set up with it. It is instead set up in a system that keeps its current player base constantly paying more and more and more for new content over the course of time. This is far worse than anything that has ever been done in the gaming sphere. And I'm going to use a similar example to Destiny that's been around since 2004. World of Warcraft. So, same example. I have a buddy. I want him to get on and play World of Warcraft with me, and I want him to play Shadowlands with me right now. Like, I really want him to come in and play Shadowlands with me. You know what I tell him? I'm like, okay, dude, let's go on ahead and let's get you set up. He's like, okay, sure. What do I need to do? Okay, well, first things first, you need to go on ahead and you need to buy Shadowlands. And if you look here, you'll see you don't have to buy any of the other versions of Shadowlands to get any of the additional content. It's just cosmetic bullshit. That's all it is. You don't have to buy anything more than that. If he wants to, he can, but he doesn't have to. But let's say my buddy decides, okay, cool, well, I'm just going to buy the base game and I'm going to go ahead and pay for a sub. Okay, but wait, he needs to buy more content, right? He needs to go on ahead and he needs to buy everything else and all the other expansions that have come out. Because obviously there was Classic, there was Burning Crusade, there was Wrath of the Lich King, there was Cataclysm, there was Mist of Pandaria, there was Warlords of Draenor, there was Legion, there was Battle for Azeroth, and now we're finally at Shadowlands. So he needs to pay for all that, right? Oh wait, no. No, he doesn't. Because he buys Shadowlands, he has all the previous expansions before that. So $40 gets him access to everything the game has ever had. And that subscription of $15 a month will also get him everything that has come out, like Classic WoW and Classic Burning Crusade. My buddy is now at a grand total of $55 to be able to play World of Warcraft with me for 1 month, because it is a subscription-based game, and he's good. Well, wait a minute, a new raid, a new dungeon's coming out for World of Warcraft. Oh, it's already included in the subscription price. Oh, okay. Now, let's also be fair, because again, WoW is a subscription-based game. How many months of time can he get out of World of Warcraft through subscription costs if he sits there and paid the exact same amount as what he has to pay to be able to play Destiny 2 with me, right? So once again, if you guys remember, Destiny 2 to get everything is going to cost you $185. So we need to go on ahead and we need to minus out $55, because that's obviously what the cost was for him to be able to get everything with World of Warcraft. Now we need to divide that remaining amount of $130 by 15, meaning, oh my god, he can sit there and get 8 months of time in World of Warcraft for the same cost as just getting everything in Destiny 2. Potentially, not excluding the potential dungeons that he has to pay for additionally on top of. 8 months. The new expansion is going to be coming out before that time frame is probably over, because he'll obviously play it on and off, and when he does want to go back and experience the content, he doesn't have to necessarily buy it. He just has to pay the $15 a month sub and get into it. versus Destiny, where you want to experience the new content, you have to buy it, then you have to pay for the season pass in order to be able to access some of it, because the season pass has gear within it, so you need that gear in order to level yourself up to then get to the next segment instead of playing the fucking game. Now, I'm not going to be a defender of World of Warcraft. There's a lot of anti-consumer practices they've been doing in WoW for years that have bothered me, but at least the cost is not this absurd and disgusting, because their objective is to invite new people in. They want more people in the game. Let's check out another game in the industry. It does the exact same thing. Final Fantasy 14, okay? Let's look at it. My buddy wants to get on and play with me. Okay, dude, well, first you need to go on ahead and you need to buy the complete edition, which comes with a Realm Reborn, Heavensward, Stormblood, Shadowbringers, all... Oh my god, that's even worse. I'm sorry, I couldn't believe this. I'm literally looking at it right now, and I can't believe this. For $60, you get everything, even the last expansion of Final Fantasy 14, and you also get 30 days of game time. For $60, you get everything. And let me tell you right now, Final Fantasy 14 has so much content in it, it is impossible to get through it all within even like a 4-month period of you playing every single day religiously. I have been playing for like 200 plus hours, and I'm still in the first expansion of Realm Reborn. I chose to do a lot of other side stuff, but the game is packed full of content. $60. That's welcoming to new players. That's trying to grow a player base. That's not trying to hinder people and not allowing people to get into the game. And this is exactly what my issue is with Destiny 2. So once again, $185 to be able to get all of the content. Why is the content gated anyway? Behind deluxe editions, behind season passes, behind additional purchases of anything, when you're already buying something to get an expansion and then you're still getting content gated from you? This isn't consumer friendly. This isn't new player welcoming. Destiny's objective is not to get new players in. It is a business model on keeping their current player base active and there and shilling out every single dollar they possibly can with that current player base. What kills me about this is that it could be done in so many better ways, and there's so many other games that are much better industry leaders in this than what Destiny 2 is doing. These other games are so rich with like worlds and dungeons and old content and players, and there's always something to do in all of these worlds. And you have Destiny over here where the biggest complaint from everybody is that, well, I really like the game, but the content is too short and I ran through it too quickly. Or, I already completed everything there is there, so there's nothing else for me to do. Well, don't worry, Paypig. Shill out some more money and we got you. We will give you a whole new dungeon. We will shill out some more money and we'll give you a new season pass with more gear in it and a higher light level than you had before. It's not a system built on creating a good player environment or welcoming new players. It is a system built to keep the addicted population of the game in the game. If you look at some of these people's playtime in Destiny, it's about as bad as you would expect with any other MMO. But the only difference is, and what I find weird, is that a regular MMO has so much content for you to do. The playtime makes sense because you have so many different variants and so many different things you could be doing within the game. But with Destiny, the only thing to do is gear grind. And everyone already has talked about how broken the PvP is and how it's unbalanced as hell. So I don't see any real PvP. It's just, it's there if you want to fuck around with it. So gear grinding and a broken PvP. That's everything that you're getting. Because let me tell you right now, the story doesn't fucking matter. There is no story. In fact, there was an article that I found from a previous story writer who was complaining about the fact that they literally retconned their story without even actually talking with them, and they ended up leaving the company because they were obviously being mistreated by management as well. But the thing is that they weren't being able to present a story. The story does not matter. The consistency or continuity of what's going on in the game Destiny does not matter. So you have a shell of a game that's costing you so much money, and it works because these people are addicted. And that's exactly what Destiny preys on. They prey on this addiction to get as much money out of their community that they possibly can. And this is the reason why they won't release a Destiny 3. Because why do you need to when you can just vault the content and then re-release it to make it look fresh? Okay, let's just get right into this. Vaulting content is complete and total bullshit. There is no excuse for this. There is literally no excuse. The original reason that Bungie gave for why they're vaulting content is because the game is a whopping 115 gigs of hard drive space, and the current gen consoles as well as even like upgraded machines aren't able to house all that. But yet their solution was just to take it all away and then reintroduce it here and there to you in little slivers, while not allowing you to just uninstall the content like what Call of Duty has been doing for years. If you look at Call of Duty, you can uninstall the campaign, the Spec Ops, the zombie mode, the multiplayer, whatever it is that you are not currently using, you can just uninstall. So why can't you just have every planet or every section of content uninstallable? Like a normal game, like everybody else is sitting there and that they're doing. Everyone else allows you to just uninstall that content. This space argument is bullshit. It has always been bullshit. It will be nothing more than bullshit. And it's a way for them to literally steal content from people to re-release it in flashier and better ways later on down the road. This company isn't looking out for the player's best interest. They're literally taking shit away from you to then be able to give it back to you at a later date. And that's something that just absolutely infuriates me. But wait. The story changed. While I can't find a specific article showing this personally, I've heard this excuse so many times from the actual Destiny 2 community, where their argument is, well, the servers were being overloaded, there was just too much going on onto them, and the engine wasn't able to handle it. Ever since they vaulted content, the game's been running better, and so on and so forth. Now, to that argument, I will say, yes, I understand how that can be a thing and how that can be a potential issue that can happen in a game like this. But why is the consumer being punished for their failings and short-sightedness? Why are you, as the person paying for the content, being punished because Bungie didn't plan ahead and future-proof their game for the fact that they need new content, that they're going to be releasing out new content for continuously? That is a Bungie problem, not a you problem, but they've instead turned it around to minimize costs for themselves and vaulted content instead of making an engine that can actually function and house all of this and work within the system they're trying to create. Of course they were going to have to create more and more content. Of course they were going to have to release more and more things for their game. Of course their game was going to start cluttered with all this stuff all over the place as the seasons and the expansions and everything else like that kept going on. That's what an online game like this does. This is an inexcusable reason. Why is it that a game like World of Warcraft, which released out in 2004 and has never had to vault any of their content, is still able to continue doing that? I mean, oh my god, they're working with fucking technology that like in today's tech world will be considered sticks and stones, yet their game doesn't have to vault any of their content, is able to run stable and fine outside of when they launch new expansions, and they've never vaulted anything. The only thing WoW ever did was they changed the entire worldscape of the game in an expansion for Cataclysm, but they kept everything in the game or revamped it and made it better. Like some of the dungeons and things like that were revamped and revitalized, and then other dungeons were just left alone. Never have they had to vault content. Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, a game that came out in 2013, who, by the way, the original version of Final Fantasy XIV, they took it down because the engine they were using was shit and wasn't able to maintain the experience that they wanted to create, so they took their entire game down, revamped their engine from the ground up, recreated a whole new world for A Realm Reborn, and that released in 2013, and they have more content than Destiny 1 and 2 combined, and probably the next 7 years of Destiny altogether, and they've never had to vault a single thing. The most they did is go back and revamp some of the things just to obviously keep them up to date. Outside of that, everything that they didn't touch is still in the game as if it was day one when it released in 2013. Same thing with Elder Scrolls Online. They're using an engine that is almost old enough to literally drink. Elder Scrolls Online is using an engine that's almost old enough to drink. And they've still never vaulted content, and they have always kept all their content available for everybody. This is the shit that I'm talking about. It's fucking bullshit. Vaulting content is not. It is not anything but a blatant lie from Bungie to purposefully take content away from the people that paid for it and then re-release it out later to keep the game fresh and new and entertaining, because they don't have enough content to keep pumping it out. And if it is their engine's fault, why aren't they doing anything to fix their engine? In fact, they literally have blatantly said that they will not redo the engine for Destiny 2 ever. So their objective is to punish the consumer because they made a shit product, because they didn't plan for the future, and now you are being forced to be a pay pig under their thumb to make sure that you can continue getting all the content of Destiny while getting all your previous content taken away from you. But don't worry, while they'll do nothing to actually update their engine, make the game better, or actually help players to retain the content that they purchase and have a way for them to replay it, they will include non-binary characters for you so that way you can feel better about yourself for being progressive. This shit pisses me off the most, not because of the fact that they included it. I have no issues with them including it and having it here. What pisses me off about this is the fact that instead of actually making meaningful changes to their game, this is the shit that these companies will do to satisfy the 10,000 mentally ill people on Twitter so they're not bitching at them and being like, look at how progressive our game is, instead of actually focusing on the issues that the game has itself. Battlefield 2044 did the exact same thing. When it came out and it was a complete and total disaster of a game, instead of working on any kind of actual fixes, they added in a non-binary character. Yeah, because that's going to actually benefit the vast majority of your player base that actually plays the damn game. And the worst part is, the Destiny Paypigs defend this. I have no problem with people liking what they like. I have no problem with people supporting what they want to support. I have no problem if somebody finds something entertaining that I find absolutely god-awful in like the gaming sphere or whatever else, to obviously continue to enjoy that product. If they want to go off and have fun with it, they can. What I find absolutely horrid about this is that the defense mechanisms of the Destiny community. You can't criticize this shit. They will argue tooth and nail with you instead of trying to have an intelligent, actual conversation about this and like admitting this is a problem. This isn't okay. Instead of having an intelligent conversation about this, they will fucking defend it tooth and nail. Well, it's in the TOS. Yeah. Let me tell you something. Just because something is in the TOS does not make it legally right. In fact, for those of you that don't know, Apple and Amazon literally got hit with lawsuits for taking away content from people. It was in their TOS's fine print that they were allowed to do that, and they lost. This is a much more egregious situation than anything that Apple and Amazon ended up doing, and I find that hilarious because of the fact that these people want to defend this. There's so many better ways that Bungie could have gone about this. If they were concerned, obviously, about the storage size of the game, they could just allow you to uninstall different expansions. But, oh wait, never mind. That takes work and development and time and effort to create a system and an update so players are able to do that. So we can't do that. Okay, well then what about just releasing out Destiny in tranches so you have Destiny 2, then Destiny 3, Destiny 4, so that way if you want to go back and play the old content you can. But oh wait, we don't want to do that because we got the Destiny 2 metaverse and we don't want to make another game because we want to keep it all together. Which is it? Are you trying to keep the entire Destiny game all together in one bundle package? Which I'm totally fine with. I think that's awesome actually, and I totally support that. Or are you trying to break it up? Or are you wanting to make it different, like systems of stories and like universes? So like we just dealt with all these threats in Destiny 2, now we're moving on to Destiny 3 and we got all these things going on there. No, you're not doing either. And here's the thing, right? It's still not beneficial for the consumer because the price tag doesn't make any fucking sense. If they were to release out Destiny 3 and then start making all the updates and everything else like that on Destiny 3, it would be cheaper for the consumer than them doing the system they're doing. Just to get all the content in Witch Queen, you have to pay $100. If they released out Destiny 3, you'd only be paying $60 unless you're on a anti-consumer platform like Sony. $70 brand new game. But that system makes more sense for the players. So now it's like, okay, well, I know if I buy Destiny 3, it's going to be a little bit of a content drought here and there, but I can work with it. Even if they kept copying and pasting, they literally just take Destiny 2 and put it somewhere else, but now you have all this new shit to do with Destiny 3, that's fine. That's still a better option for the consumer than what they're currently doing. How can you possibly argue with me that paying $100 while having your previous content being taken away from you is a good thing versus them just doing it out in tranches and in segments as if they do Destiny 2, Destiny 3, Destiny whatever the fuck, and then continuing on that way. So now you have that old content. And don't give me this bullshit that nobody goes back to play the old content. I got on Destiny 1, the complete edition, mind you, the one that goes all the way down to Rise of Iron, and it was packed. There were so many people playing that game and like active in it, and the community there was so nice too. Like some dudes were literally offering to like help me and help guide me through because I started up a new Titan just to get like my bearings of the game again. And it's a complete package. I understand you go from point A to point B, this is what's going on, this is why you're doing this, and so on and so forth. The game had a story, the game had everything put together, the game was well presented, and it was also fairly consumer friendly as well. I can get all the loot, I can explore all the planets, I can do all the things. It's only a matter of time before the next thing you know, they're gonna start vaulting PvP content because, well, not as many people are playing it, so we need to vault that. Or they're gonna start vaulting other major aspects of the game, like, well, we have all these legendaries and exotics that you guys aren't really using, so we're just gonna go ahead and vault them to help save on server space and server systems. If your engine is shit, don't put it on the consumer. If you're trying to create a expansive world and story and you don't want to change your engine because it's going to cost too much, fine. Break it up into segments. If you're not going to break it up into segments and you're going to vault people's content, then make the new content cheaper so people don't have to bleed through the nose for your fucking content. Oh, it's not consumer friendly. Anything that Bungie is saying about this is a blatant lie. But the thing is, Bungie doesn't have to say anything, because the people that are addicted to their roundabout ways of doing things and their entire system that they have set up, which is used a lot in other games and other MMOs, it's just not as egregiously monetized as it is here, they will defend it to the end. And anybody that does defend this, there's nothing I can say to you that'll change your mind, because the thing is, you're so deeply invested into it that you can't see the forest through the trees. And that's the thing that kills me the most, because for you, you literally get your dopamine points. You get everything that you need from it. So you're like, well, this isn't bad. This is good. This is beneficial. Look at all this shit that they're doing for me, blah, blah, blah. I was never going to go back and play the old content. I was never going to go and do this. It's not a person you can reason with that, because the game is set around a very aggressive mobile game style of loot grinds and addiction. Like the fact that they have gear in their season passes, and the fact that it takes so long to gear up, artificially I might add, through the daily systems and everything else like that. And then on top of it, you having to pay to be able to continue staying on top of it. There's a legitimate psychological fear called FOMO. It's fear of missing out. FOMO. And this is exactly what Destiny is completely built around. Now, other games, like I've mentioned before, like World of Warcraft is the most egregious with this. They do similar things where they'll release out an item and you have to do these weeklies to power up this item, and the more powerful this item is, the better you perform in the last raid of whatever that expansion is, so on and so forth. And I also disagree with that as well. It's a problem, and it's meant to target that addicted personality. The only difference is that $55 gets you access to everything within it, and you don't have to necessarily keep doing that. But with Destiny, you're stuck on that grind and that seasonal grind and everything else to keep yourself engaged in it and to stay on top, because if you fall behind, then you're going to start missing out on content. With a game that has so little content, with a game that the community has complained over and over and over again about how every time new content drops that they're able to run through the content too quickly and there's nothing else for them to do, and so on and so forth. It is a problem. The community of Destiny will fight tooth and nail and defend this every which way, and there's nothing you can say to change their mind. And that's exactly what Bungie needs. They need these people to constantly rally behind them and protect them. Let me make something clear to you. I have no problem with a company making money. I have no problem with a company saving money. I myself am a business owner. I understand having to make those hard choices between, hey, do I do this or do I do this? But if I do this, this is going to cost more on the consumer side, and so on and so forth. I get that it's a balancing act, but I'm telling you now, and I'm putting my foot down on it, Bungie's not trying to do a balancing act. I find it very ironic that as soon as they left Activision Blizzard, that they turned around and they started doing this vaulted content and everything else like that. I promise you, they were trying to do this in Destiny 1. They never wanted to make a second Destiny game. They said it multiple times. Their objective was to probably do the same thing, because like, well, our engine can't support all this and it can't really handle all this, so we're just going to take content away from people and then just release out new content from there. And you know it's bad when Activision says no. I promise you that was a conversation that was had. And then when Destiny 2 came out and they started getting to that point, they just monetized the shit out of it, made enough money to buy themselves out of the Activision portfolio, and then they were like, awesome, we're free, start vaulting content. Look at the timeline of it. Once they left Activision, they started vaulting content and they started doing these very aggressive consumer practices. When Activision is the one telling you no to a monetization strategy, you're on the wrong side of the argument. Bobby Kotick will literally go dig up his mother and like present it to an investor for another couple million. But when they say no, that it's not a good idea, you should probably listen to the devil. When the devil says no, that's too far, they're probably right. I'm just saying. But either way, this is the entire, like I said, my objective here was to get an entire comprehensive guide on it. And the community did not help at all. I actually went to the community to try to have a discussion about this, and all I got was fanboys just defending the product. In fact, it got so well defended that, yeah, my Reddit post was taken down by moderators because it was too egregious and it might affect the community's safety. AKA, they want to be in an echo chamber just praising the game and not having actual valiant discussions about it. And this happens in a lot of different games. This happens in World of Warcraft, this happens in Final Fantasy, this happens in Elder Scrolls as well. A lot of different games have this problem where the player base is so diehard about it because they've invested so much time, money, energy, and effort into the game that they cannot accept that it's bad because it'll hurt them too much. And then on top of it as well, like I mentioned before, the whole addiction process with it as well. There's a lot of different aspects that go into this, and I understand wanting to defend something that you love, but for fuck's sakes, man, wake up. Look at what they're doing. Look at their excuses. Look at how many times they've already lied to you. Look at how many times that they're trying to squeeze out any last shekel that they could possibly get out of you. And you really start to see that, yeah, this is a problem. This isn't just me supporting a company that I love and that I don't want to see fail. This is me being abused like a pay pig and having every single possible dollar squeezed out of me that they can possibly get. And that's exactly what Bungie's business model is. Once Destiny 2 starts running dry on a player base, they'll release out Destiny 3, revitalize it, and then boom, everything's good, everything's great, everything's amazing, and they'll start going down the same road if they don't update their engine, which they don't have to do. That's the worst part about this. They don't have to fix anything. Their profit margins are astronomically high with the current system that they have, and then with Sony recently coming in and buying them for a very unreasonable price tag, it only further solidifies that point. Now, again, they could be making $1 billion plus off of all these microtransactions and all these systems, and great, awesome. I'm happy for them. I can't get mad at a company doing what is working and continuing to do what is working and going even further beyond because of the fact that something is working. I cannot get upset at a company for doing that because, of course, as a business, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to make sure that you are turning a profit. Where I do have a problem is when you are so far gone with your monetization and profiting schemes that you're actively hurting people and taking advantage of potential mental illness such as addiction in order to achieve that goal. That's my entire rant / discussion on Bungie. Like I said, I really wish the Destiny community could have given me a bit more of a conversation, but instead I just got muted, and of course everyone wanted to defend it, so it is what it is. This has been Rex Vladimir, not costing you $185 to go play a game, and signing out. Peace.